Hello and welcome, welcome. Let me see if I can see any comments. Oh boy, welcome everybody into the chatmosphere. Who's here? Karen is here. Welcome, Karen, and thank you. Thank you for everything, Karen. I see 420 Walt Dragon is here. And me Hermana. IG Roller Disco. Hey there, sis. How's it going? I hope you're doing well. All right. So if you start to come in, I just want to say welcome and we will see you in the chatmosphere, okay? Hey. All right. So we're starting out with episode 31 in the retrospective. So we're up to 1995. So the 90s are pretty much, we're into the 90s. We are midway through. You may remember 1995 very well. I remember it. I was reminded about a lot of details with that year, rewinding it. And what else? The courtroom. I call it the courtroom cultural earthquake. Yes. And we will look into that. Let's look at the first slide in the title and see who are the characters, the cast of characters on the world stage. Because, yeah, there are a lot of familiar faces I'm sure you recognize. Some maybe not so much, probably changed a whole lot. Some have left and gone to the upper room, a lot of them, right? It's amazing when I do these retrospectives and realize the people who have died. It is a humbling thing. You know how the good book, the Most High Yah, tells us to number our days, right? To realize that this particular life that we have is but a vapor. It is but a vapor. And we have to humble ourselves before the Most High Yah when we realize that life is but a vapor. And we have to find meaning in this life. We can't let the dark world, the dark forces, and the dark kingdom have us to lose hope, because that's what the enemy wants, by the way. I know I'm going off into like a little sermon, or it's just sometimes I'm talking to myself, okay, if you don't mind. But it's just something that's hitting me, because I'm realizing a lot of people have died in this particular picture. And it is, but what, when you think about all of the rabbit holes we've all gone down into, and a lot of us are Bible believing, and we know that lifespans were longer and now they're short. So they are but a vapor. And a lot of the people that we look at in this cultural retrospective rewind, we look at people who have sought out celebrity and fame. And those things are tricky. And we have learned through so many stories, so many behind the narrative type of stories, unsung. And also we look again to the good book of the Bible when it talks about the titans and the giants of the ancient world, the men of renown. That's what I think of. I think of those stories as well. And the story of Gilgamesh, and just, he was seeking fame, right? A name. And that is what this culture, it tells us that these are the things to seek after: fame and fortune and influence, and these things that are but a vapor. What will they be when we go to join our ancestors. What will all of that matter? What are what are we leaving behind here? So we get caught up in these things, and a lot of the people who have sold we say their souls for this world, this weird world, and the industry of entertainment, government mixed all together, Hollywood, and all the mind control of it all. We're coming out of this and realizing what was worth it, and what do we want moving forward, because we can't sustain the fakeness of this system. It's collapsing because it's so fake. Fake, right? So, wow, Juan, you're here. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Okay, so let us look at the next slide in this rewind. We are in 1995, episode 31, and we are looking at, I would say, okay, right here, one of the biggest psyops in terms of this divisive, racial, everything. I mean, it had everything embedded in this court case. It was so dramatic. It turned a lot of people into household names. They were able to leverage this and have, what is it? One of the women, she has a regular spot on one of the networks. I think it's, no, what is it? Greta whatever. Susteren, right? Greta Van Susteren. She came out of this trial, Greta, right? Greta, and the other woman was the attorney, Marcia Clark. I think she is pretty heavyweight in media, if I'm remembering. But a lot of people went on to some big positions. And the case was televised. I don't know of another case other than the Diddy case that we just heard about. It was more, okay, OJ was televised, but Diddy's case, I would say more of internet broadcast, because we had people inside the courthouse. You know, the guy from City Press or something, he was right there, boots on the ground, like a lot of the YouTubers that we like, Tisa Tells, and even Jag was there for a bit. But a lot of the people that we were getting our updates from, they were right in the courtroom, so they were given a play-by-play. City, whatever his title, you might know, City something, he gives, so like every case that goes on in New York, I think he's covering it, and he's on X or Twitter, and he is giving such a thorough breakdown of the cases. It's unbelievable. So these people they're dedicated to getting the public to see what's going on in these courthouses if you can't go, because I think a lot of us need to know, as citizens of this, of this nation, we need to know what's going on. Things can't be secret, right? That's the problem. Hey, Paint Dance Live, hola, welcome. You said Greta is unwatchable. Really? I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, so the OJ case, when I thought about the OJ case and the Diddy case, I thought, wow, these are two cases that could be looked at. And you know how they say they could be studied? I think they could be studied in comparisons. I may do that. I may do a comparison, or anybody else, if they get the idea. I think it's a lot to be said for these two men that became notorious. They went from having stellar images, and then the image was tarnished and the legacy just destroyed before our eyes. OJ, he's now gone to the upper room, and he's not remembered for the good stuff, right? His football accolades, nobody remembers him for that. He's remembered for this horrendous, dramatic tragedy that happened in his family. And it was, like I said, it feels like it was a psyop of mass proportions. And like I was telling you all, after that court decision, I noticed a lot of my white friends began to get colder towards me. And I thought, wow, because it was racially divided. And that's why I'm looking at all of this, all of it in a different way now. So you can see the New York Times, the headline, because this is when OJ, the trial has commenced, and he was sentenced like not guilty. So a not guilty verdict. Imagine that. The jury delivered a not guilty verdict. I just, I'm amazed at it. I was paying attention, but in a different way. But when I think about that, like double murder, and he got a not guilty verdict. So yeah, I can see why people were in their feelings like they were. And this, his celebration of his victory, of course, it really got into the wounds, the racial wounds that we have in this country that are stirred up and whatever. But yeah, it says that the jury clears Simpson in double murder, and it spellbounds the nation, divides on verdict. Do you see? So they call it spellbound. They're letting us know, right? Don't you see it now? This is media control. And they're saying that we are spellbound. And I would agree with that wording. And it says the nation is divided on the verdict. So look at that. They have achieved what they set out to do. And I can't imagine the damage that this OJ case has had on our culture, our society. And don't think it hasn't added into the racial divisions that we see today. Like I said, the woundings on both sides. And when we start to begin to try to heal and not focus and obsess over race, when we can just be left alone, we would not obsess over race. We would just do our thing, and I believe everybody would thrive. But the constant staring up and obsessing over something like race, which is all manufactured and engineered, we stay spellbound, where we could be different and we would have different outcomes if we weren't in this spell of race. And I believe we are coming out of the spell, because it was based on deception and not science or anything. So based on that, in the information age where we are now, it's hard for the machinations. It's hard for this system to stay standing. It's not standing on anything firm anymore. It's starting to just collapse. I know you see it. I love it, actually. I have to tell you, I'm celebrating every time I witness the collapse of this system. this world system, I celebrate inside my spirit. I'm telling you, I'm celebrating. Allah, Allah. Yeah, so we got to get out of this spellbound. We must speak out, because you know what? The spells are, a lot of them are spoken over us. And we're consenting to their headlines, to their, these are wizards of the media. They're warlocks, and they're people that they practice the occult. They practice how to manipulate reality. I mean, that's a really, when you think about that, that comes from the mind of Antichrist, Satan, whatever, Lucifer. This is it comes out of the dark kingdom, how to manipulate reality and how to build machinations, a framework based on deception. And this is what they've done. It has to have the media in order to, be effective on the minds of the people. So we have been spellbound for, I'm looking at 60 years of being spellbound in this culture. And it's easy to see the root cause. It really is. So here we are. O.J. Simpson, a former sweetheart, an American hero. He was a college athlete, football star, went on to the NFL. Handsome man. You can look at OJ. He is a foundational American of copper skin, indigenous. Okay, how I've been trying to help us to, we're all understanding the different people groups and bloodlines of the American nation. And within the nation, some of the original bloodlines, which would be my people, okay? My people would be OJ's. OJ would come from, we are from that American indigenous. So we're being called different things. It's all happening in real time. So the closest label, in a sense, is the foundational Americans, the ones that were here. They weren't brought here. You can't deport them anywhere if you don't like them. If you have black fatigue, you can't deport my people, the bloodline that OJ and the Washingtons and Johnny Cochran and Karen Scott, okay? All of us, we're here, in the Reeds, we are here. We can't be deported. That's the crazy thing, and that's what's happening right now. That's why a lot of lies are beginning to collapse. The race hustle is collapsing. I look at it from like a social experiment on Twitter, X, and I watch how white people are starting to wake up to the differences. I think you've always known that just because someone has a brown color doesn't mean that they're all one people. I think we all know that. I just think that they make it seem like we don't know this. And when they're pushing things on us, they think we don't see it. But now that we're speaking up and we're saying no, Somalis are not the same as these foundational black people here, that I have fatigue. I get it. Everybody's fatigued on something, okay? Everybody's got fatigue. That's the era that we're in. We're fatigued, a lot of us, okay? So I get it, the black fatigue, but you can't do anything about it. I can't send them anywhere, can't deport us, but you could deport these other people that have been invading this land and trying to blend in with my bloodline people. trying to blend in with these people who have like a unique claim. We've got people that fought for this nation. The cemeteries all throughout this land have my people buried in them. If you dig up these cemeteries, well, who do you think you're going to find in these cemeteries? I'm talking the old cemeteries. Who do you think going to be buried in the ground? That's why the lies are finished. The jig is up. All the way up. And you should celebrate it. Like I'm celebrating it. I'm loving it. Okay, let me get on to the next thing because I can talk so much. I'm so excited about this timeline that we're in right now. It's fabulous. FYI, let's see, not guilty for a double murder. Okay. DJT just pardoned national hero, political prisoner, Gold Star mom Tina Peters in the awful Mesa, Colorado election integrity case. That evil governor needs to release her ASAP. So you're telling me there's a Gold Star mom, Tina Peters, who is, what is she, in jail? A political prisoner? I don't know about this. I'm sorry. I'm not in the loop with some things, but it sounds crazy. Her name sounds a little familiar. Tell us more about it and what, if we could sign whatever, let us know. All right. So let's go to the next slide. I'm sorry. I'm long-winded tonight. All right, so let's see. OJ is not guilty, and everybody is in their fields. Now, this was fascinating. Did you ever hear about this
called a freak wave? This happened in 1995. A dropper, the Dropner, wait a minute. The Dropner wave was detected in the North Sea. Now, if you know anything about the North Sea, especially if you like to go on the TikToks, if you get over on that algorithm of the North Sea, it is really amazing to watch the waves and the different vessels trying to stay upright in such. For me, it triggers a little bit of something for me because I took a boat ride once in the Atlantic. Long story. It was a long boat ride, and I remember I was a little girl, but I remember a lot about it and waves and things, and so I have a little bit of a thing about waves. Yeah, but this is something, again, you talk about humbling us, the power of the Most High Yah's creation. Let me tell you, he could walk on this water, the very one who created it. He could tell these waves just with his words. He could say, be still, and it would instantly become a placid, peaceful, like, body of water. It would look like glass. Okay? So, yeah. This wave, the North Sea. Fascinating stuff. So, yeah, 1995. Interesting. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, Clinton. He was starting his shenanigans real good. So he sent a boatload of money, $20 billion in U.S. aid package to Mexico to stabilize their economy. So it was a Mexican bailout. So I don't know how I feel about that. It's very fascinating that he comes in and just sends $20 billion to Mexico. So he also signed the NAFTA treaty, which was beneficial to Mexico and Canada more so than us here. So just a lot of globalist games being played. And yeah, when we look at the damage that Clinton, Bush, Obama, we're living still with the problems that they created. Horrible people. But we were being, at the same time that 20 billion was sent to Mexico, we were doing the Macarena. Were you doing the Macarena? I don't know. Now I'm starting to put things together. Okay, were they trying to just get our minds off of the fact that Clinton just sent 20 billion to Mexico? In the meantime, we're doing Macarena. Hi, Macarena. We don't even know what's going on. We're busy doing a dumb dance, right? Don't you love it? It's so, I can see it now. I'm like, I was caught up in this whole culture. I had no idea what was going on. So we're being robbed and pillaged, and we're just doing Macarena, Macarena, Macarena. So that would be the equivalent of like TikTok dances for us, right? You got to love it. You have to laugh at it in a way, right? Okay, so let's look at the next slide. Macarena and $20 billion out the door. Got to love it. Okay, so we have homegrown terror and the face of homegrown terror. So I can see also how these agents, these MK Ultra, whatever you would call a crash dummy, Timothy McVeigh. That's what I would consider him, a crash dummy. So he went on a dummy mission and blew up a federal building. And I find it very strange when you think about it, that we could have a man who served in the military, and he's under programming, and I can see how it can happen where he's in a certain program to hear a narrative and get activated. He's like a sleeper cell, they call him. So it's easy to see how they select these kind of people. And it's like what we see in the movies where it could be a word of a whatever to activate this sleeper cell to do this, carry out this domestic act of terror. And what it does to the collective population, it traumatizes us. It's just all these traumas, layers of trauma. And some people have so much of their own trauma that they haven't healed from. So then they take on this extra collective trauma. So I can see why people are really messed up, because it's just been so much of this. When we are finished with these games, imagine how people can heal finally and start to regulate their bodies, because they won't be under this constant duress of trauma cycles, right? So I'm just thinking how wonderful we're coming into a time, because as this stuff is being exposed, it can't be returned to, you see, because the jig is up. It's not effective anymore. They would have to come with a new game plan. And this is it for these people. They don't have anything new. They've run out of tricks, okay? The bag of tricks is empty, right? So we have Timothy McVeigh, crash dummy, who did the Oklahoma City bombing. And the news cycle, thanks to 24-hour cycles of news, it kept us glued and traumatized and re-traumatized, right? See how that happens? So they were going to execute him, then it was on hold, and then I think they finally did, right? Execute him. So, yeah. he wasn't working alone as some lone wolf, so we all can agree on that. So whatever. They took him out, but who were the planners and the money people behind it? All right, so next slide. You said we were hypnotized by the Macarena phenomenon so much. Yeah, I mean, I'm playing around, right? But I just thought I would connect it because I said it's interesting. It has to be something to it all. Nothing is just random by accident with these social things. It's one big experiment in a sense. So we have the Unabomber. Okay, so now we have Timothy McVeigh over here blowing up buildings, government buildings, by the way. Now we have this cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs Unabomber, and you see how they give it a name and it's like a brand, and they kept talking about the Unabomber for years. And remember our last rewind, he had sent a mail pow pow kaboom in the mail to a professor of technology right at Yale. So he had some issue. I'm not going to read his manifesto, but I'll get the cliff notes on it pretty much. So the Unabomber, they played into this delusion and cuckoo in insanity by publishing the manuscript for his manifesto. Now, in terms of manifestos, I've only heard of Hitler and his manifesto or is it Marx and his manifesto? So manifestos sound like they come from the mind of the insane, right? The criminally, maybe geniusly insane people. And to give it a lot of attention, I don't know if that's the best idea to publish it in the Washington Post. Whose idea was this? So he's got this manifesto that says industrial society and its future. So Ted Kaczynski, he did a TED Talk. I guess, is that where you get the TED Talk whole phenomenon from? Is Ted Kaczynski? Your TED Talk is like a manifesto? I don't know. Oh boy, they'll never invite me to do a TED Talk, huh? All right, so yeah, there you go. Cuckoos everywhere. So that's some shrapnel there from his, mailing. You don't want to be on that list, huh? But there you go. So let's look at the next. Oh, what did you say? Juan said that McVeigh was a patsy plant to destroy boxes originals that were moved from. Oh, yeah. Fascinating. Thank you for adding that, because the Whitewater trial, I think, was starting to heat up. I'm going to try to get to that. It was so much going on, right? During the Clinton years. I mean, they came in hot. But, yeah, I think Whitewater was starting to really come back on them. So they were fighting a lot of different fronts. The Guru is here. Welcome, the Guru. Thank you. Peace and love. Thanks for joining. So let's look at the next slide. What else is going on? So now we're publishing manifestos in the Washington Post. Who knew? Now this was a very sad thing to witness, to see the downfall of a movie star. Christopher Reeve, he seemed like uncomplicated, he didn't seem like a problematic celebrity from what I can remember, but just somebody who minded his business and did his work. But he fell from a horse and he was paralyzed. So to think that you 1 minute fully functioning body, and just in a moment his life changed. So that was very sad. And just You think I think about the ironies, of course, in it, that he played Superman, the invincible, immortal. And again, these are all the humbling lessons that I see from the Most High Yah. Not that he calls this, but what I'm saying is we can learn in these lessons that none of us are Superman. We are of flesh and blood. We are human, uh, in terms of this iteration here. What is inside of us is what is the real identity, our spirit, our soul. But this flesh, as you can see, his flesh, as fragile as we are. I think of that song from Sting. I love Fragile, how fragile we are. It's humbling. Some people go around acting like they are gods and they trample over others. But in the end, none of them will be able to beat death. Okay. And I look at everybody that way at this point. Nobody I see in an elevated way unless they can show me receipts that they have defeated death. Okay. Anybody who can come with that type of smoke, then I have all respect. But everybody else, we do not defeat death. It's been defeated for us, but we all have to go that way. And this body, this flesh is, look at this, Superman. And then he's in a wheelchair. It's a tragic thing. It's so sad, and it's so humbling. It should be humbling. And it should be the thing that takes us to the throne of the Most High Yah, realizing that we don't have all the answers. We don't have any of this stuff figured out. We could have all the money, the fame, the this, the that. And in the end, what does it matter? Another song that I love, right? Linkin Park. In the end, does it even matter? Any of this? I'm just asking for a friend. That's why we should be humble. Next. These egos, I'm going through my different, think pieces. I'm listening to the Diddy documentary, and just, it's amazing. This is such a lesson. It's doing an incredible thing to the culture, I have to say. Let's see the next slide. Yeah, the Diddy documentary, it has rocked the culture. Talking about rocking the culture, we have Riverdance. So the Riverdance started to hit the shores of America from Ireland, right? I think Ireland. And this was so amazing. I never got to see it live, but I remember watching some of the performances, maybe on a television program. Amazing, amazing dancing. And this became a real hot trend. So the guy that was the star, Michael Flatley, he became a big, big star from this whole thing, right? I don't know where he is today, but just the whole thing. Did anybody go see Riverdance on Broadway? Let me know. Karen, did you see Riverdance? Karen may have seen it. I bet it was amazing. I'm not even laughing. I would have loved to have gone. So let's go to the next slide. Riverdance. Dancing by the river. Okay, so the culture. We're talking about the culture of 1995 here. So the Brady Bunch. Okay, I know all of us are Brady Bunch kids, right? We grew up watching the Brady Bunch. Don't try to act like you didn't, Juan. I know you did. So us Brady Bunch kids, to think about, they did a movie. I didn't remember that they did a Brady Bunch movie. Where was I? I guess I was caught up in the other stuff going on. So much going on. Now, I could not imagine going to the theater to see the Brady Bunch movie. I'm sorry. I love the Brady Bunch cast members, and I'm not trying to say they didn't deserve to make their coin. I don't think they used them, right? They had new actors. I don't know who these people are, but I don't know, just weird. And it shows you how the culture is starting to jump the shark, because where are the creative ideas? Because I look at, if you have to take the Brady Bunch, which was a TV show that, went away, and you have to now create a movie with a new cast, and then you do a sequel, a very Brady sequel. Come on, people. It looks so, it plays with your sense of the fake reality that we're already in. This is like, what is it called? What is that movie where they went into different, what was it called? I can't think of it. Help me think of it. The Thing. It's like, what is it called when there are all these like almost multiverses, like weird things going on? This messes with your reality. We're already messed up with reality with television. They've told a lie to our vision. So I grew up with this original Brady Bunch on TV, and now it's being recycled in the 90s. Weird, right? And made into a movie, so a cinema edition. Weird. So now we see Hollywood is running out of ideas. And another reason why I know they're running out of ideas is they're starting with the agenda, right? RuPaul was in one of these Brady Bunch movies. RuPaul. You see RuPaul there dressed up in the movie, the Brady Bunch. Why would you have RuPaul? So you already see how they're taking a seemingly innocent show and just corrupting it with another iteration, just corrupt it as they progressively condition the next generation. That's their plan, at least. But it's a good thing that by the time they start doing these kind of remixing and, rehashing, it's like anything. You can't keep eating reheated food. If anybody is still eating Thanksgiving dinner, it's probably growing tiresome by now. And that's how I see this. If you keep reheating these shows, it starts to look like the new cast, they look like Timu. You know how they say Timu Obama? They call that senator. That senator, he looks like he's got dead eyes. What's it? Hakeem Jeffries. He's got those dead eyes. They call him Timu Obama. So it looks like Timu Brady. Like, it just looks terrible. Like, it's cheap. It's cheap. That's what it is. It's cheap. And they cheapen everything to the point where they've turned us off. We don't want what they have anymore. Hollywood has done this to themselves. It's sad too, because a lot of people work in Hollywood and they're skilled workmen and women, and they're out of work because that town is like a ghost town in a sense. That's what I've heard. But a lot of it has been done, it's self-inflicted. the wounds. They wouldn't listen to the people. You can't continue to force feed counterculture to people who say they don't want it. When we say we don't want it, we mean it. And now they're starting to see, yeah, oh, I guess it starts to affect us with a consequence, right? Consequences have been something that this world system teaches, that you avoid them. You do whatever you can to get out of a consequence. And that's exactly what some of us need, a consequence. Because a consequence is going to help us to reflect. It should. You become reflective and you transform out of your reflection. That's how a consequence is really set up to help. But people don't get it. It's like they want to go against laws. They want to talk about the universe all the time. Well, there are laws to the universe. Cause and effect. So there you are. So the Brady Bunch movie and a very Brady sequel, I'm sure they didn't do well. I'm sure. Okay, next slide. I'm really ranting. Am I ranting? Let me get some water. I know I say water funny. Philadelphians, we say water, and people tease us water. Oh, speaking of a Philadelphian, we have Kevin Eubanks, a Philadelphian John. He was one of the first jazz artists to become the conductor, like the band leader on a show. So we had our era of nighttime talk shows. They began probably before Johnny Carson, but a lot of us remember Johnny Carson as the nighttime talk show guy that had the biggest, platform. And then we saw Arsenio Hall and various people. Joan Rivers, she even had a show, and David Letterman, he came through. He was fun. I used to like the old original David Letterman, real quirky and fun. And he had the band. That whole that type of platform or blueprint was done early. They just keep repeating, having a band, a good band. So it's a great position to land. So we had Kevin Eubanks become the leader of the band for the Tonight Show, which Jay Leno inherited. And I think Jay Leno did an excellent job. I really did like Jay Leno. And Kevin Eubanks, I think they had great chemistry. It looked like they had a great respect and love for each other. So it was just nice to see that era of nighttime talk shows. We're not going to see that anymore. We have Jimmy Kimmel and the other guy. These are creepy guys, that terrible people. Steve Colbert and stuff. I used to like Steve Colbert before he became real creepy with his politics and stuff. He was more so just a funny guy before. And the same with all of them. I like, Colin, what was the redhead guy? What was his name? Colin, right? He was fun. And who else we had? Yeah, I guess right now I don't pay attention to them. Like I said, it's over. That part of our culture is over. So the guys that came at the end to get the crumbs off of the floor, they are garbage, in terms of comparing them to Jay Leno and Johnny Carson. Is no comparison. They're garbage. And their ratings are in the toilet. My cat could probably get better ratings just walking across the table. So that's how it is now. That's what it is. Yeah. So Kevin Eubanks, good look for Philadelphia. A lot of people in the chat even know Kevin Eubanks. They know the Eubanks family. That's the thing about Philly. Our celebrities are down to earth. We don't worship in fact, we do just the opposite. When we have celebrities in Philly, because a lot of us know celebrities, we know them or we know their cousin or their mom. My mother knows just about everybody that is a celebrity in Philly. She knows your aunt. She went to school with one of these Johns, and she knows everybody, and nobody cares. Okay, nobody cares. So Philly is probably one of the best cities to keep a celebrity like grounded, because they're going to give your ass to you if you come there with some type of chip on your shoulder, your ego. They're going to tell you, yeah, right, used to pee in the bed. I mean, they might tell you some embarrassing stuff like right loud in front of your new Hollywood friends, right? They'll knock you down a couple of pegs. So, yeah, Philadelphia is a great city for that very thing, right? Let me know. Put a pretzel in the chat atmosphere. So there you go. Next we have, Kevin Eubanks came on to the Tonight Show with Jay Leno in 1995. So let's look at the next slide. Okay, put your tinfoil hats on. Are you ready? All right, so in 1990, well, they're saying 4, but 1995 was, I guess, the grand opening of the Denver International Airport. So you have all the weirdness going on. I know you've already heard about it. It's already been, this is definitely some leftovers of conspiracy theories. We've pretty much warmed this up so many times. If you haven't heard, just quickly, the Denver International Airport is weird. I've been there. It feels weird. You see right here the Masons, and they're supposed to be scary and running the world. We're supposed to be scared of their plans. Oh, they're going to have all of us under control, right? So I just laugh at this stuff now. It's so freaking ridiculous. So you see the beautiful Colorado mountains, and it's a lot of military stuff, and yeah, I'm sure a lot of the occult and a lot of stuff like that. So they have the mural, and they are trying to predictive program us to accept the Armageddon, end of the world, the rise of the Antichrist and all of, so yeah, nuclear holocaust. I don't know. So they have these horrible, creepy paintings with children, and just very disturbing. The fact that we allow this stuff is just, it makes us look very weak as a people, that we allow them to play in our face like this. But that's what they've been doing. You can see here where they have the gargoyles and the little blue man, and they just have fun. So another thing that we heard is the underground military, the DUMS under this airport, and how the people, when they were working on the airport, it was one of those, they get a crew, work on a segment, and then that crew is done, and then get another crew to work on the next part. So nobody is ever knowing what the completed project is. So that's what I've heard about the construction. So yeah, let's look at the next slide. Just the same old same. At this point, this stuff is like, isn't it boring? Like the evil kingdom, it's boring now. They're not scary. You get to see that it's like the Wizard of Oz, where you look behind the curtain and you realize this little punk, this little punk behind the curtain has been just doing these magic tricks on our mind, right? When you realize that. And they've been using terror, scares, and fear to control us. And it's mind control. It's not real. Their power is not real. That's the thing that really, like, oh my goodness. I wish we knew this. I wish we realized this a lot earlier. Especially a lot of us when we were younger. Like, if we had known this, like, imagine Gen X getting this kind of wake up back in the 90s, the 80s. Imagine how we could have risen up and done a lot for the kingdom to come. You know, I'm just thinking in our youth, that energy that we had, just, we dropped the ball. We let Diddy put us in a spell, right? Diddy was dancing around, and all his Diddy people had us in a spell in the 90s. So there you are. So look, you can see where they play around tongue in cheek and they do these funny things. What are we doing? And they have a lizard person. Okay, so what are they doing? Yeah, that's my question. What are we doing? Just playing in our face, trying to get us to agree to a future like this, where you have dead children. What? This is horrible. And whoever the artist is, I looked at, oh, this is this artist, and he's from somewhere in South America. Oh, and they're making a big deal. That is terrible. And he shouldn't have been paid. He shouldn't have been commissioned to do a mural like this or murals like this. What a waste of, I'm sure it was some kind of grant money. I'm sure. All right, so next slide. I guess I am ranting. Boy, this is a rant. Sorry. Yeah. So in 1995, we have the Silver Bible. Did you ever hear about this? Boy, I wish I could have a copy of something like this. Just borrow it. Imagine going to a special library, okay? Okay, go with me to use your imagination, okay? Okay, we are all, you and I are going on a special trip, okay? We take a elevator down to a subway, a special subway, okay? And Juan is holding the doors open so everybody gets in the elevator. We have Wyoming chick. Come on, we're getting in the elevator. We go down and we take a train and we go to another place. We go to a library where we go inside the library and the books are like the most special books that you've ever seen, and they look like this. And we have a day. We're spending the day at the library. We're going to have lunch where we are, but we're gonna read any book we want and listen to them audio. Can you imagine? These are books that we don't have available here. They're from the old world. Okay? So we're going on a trip. That's what I wanted. I do that sometimes, okay? I use my imagination, and that's how I see something like this. Like, you go to this really opulent place, and you imagine the music that you've never heard, at the frequency that heals your body. You're listening. It's down at a very nice, low volume. So you can sit in a comfy chair. It's linen, it's cotton and linen, and you're sitting in it and you're reading the Bible, the Silver Bible. Pages of the Codex Argenteus, the oldest text in the Gothic language. It's the Gothic language of the 5th century. It was stolen. Can you imagine having the audacity to steal the Bible? God has to, they say he looks out for fools and babies. I'm sure he probably just, oh, you poor little thing. You stole the Silver Bible from Uppsala University Library in Sweden. Okay. That's the library we would go to on our trip. The Uppsala Library in Sweden. Can you imagine going to Sweden? Because our train is able to go through tunnels and we don't worry about passports. We can go to different countries because we're underground. We're in the tunnels. You see what I did there? Do you see what I did? Okay, so the person that stole the silver Bible, they did it in broad daylight, of course. Of course, only a fool. And it was recovered in 1 month. Okay, there you go. All right. So some of you may have Bibles like this in your attics of me mom and pop pops, right? You may have a copy of a book like this. I know I have a cousin that got a very special Bible that he happened to come across, right? Right, the guru? Don't we have a cousin who got a special Bible? I hope he reads it. That's the bit. He got a hold of some really special Bible. And I just hope he lives by it and reads it. That's all I hope. Don't worry about how much it's. That's funny. That's how some people are. They come across something rare. And imagine coming across a rare Bible and your first thought is, how much is it worth? We keep failing the test. How much is it worth if I go put it on eBay? Wow. Okay, I'm getting off track. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Oh boy. All right, now we have Connie Chung. Connie Chung was a bad, bad, bad lady in 1995. What she did, she torpedoed her career. Do you remember this? I didn't remember the details. I thought she did this shenanigan. I thought she pulled this shenanigan on Clinton's mother for some reason. I don't know why I remembered that it was Bill Clinton's mother. No, it was Newt Gingrich's mother. So Newt Gingrich, remember our last thing? He had the contract with America. He became the the Speaker of the House. So he's in position. So Connie Chung is now on CBS News, and she has Dan Rather as her co-anchor. And Connie Chung, I love you, Connie, but you're on that feminist BS. So she's a girl boss, okay? So we already know what the mental thing is with her. So her and Dan Rather, from what I can understand, are having some beef, some competitive beef, because she's a girl boss, okay? And so she's trying to find a way to one up Dan Rather, I think. This is my opinion, Connie, okay? I don't care. It's my opinion. I think she was trying to find a way to come up and, get a shine on Dan Rather, right? So it ended up backfiring on her, as shenanigans often do. So this is what Connie Chung decided to do. She's going to do an interview with Newt Gingrich's mother, who had a mental disorder. She was diagnosed, from what I can remember, with a real mental illness. And she's going to take advantage of this woman. And let's go to the next slide. I'll continue, because I thought this was low down of Connie Chung. Now, I'm with you when you're right, but I'm not with you when you're wrong. And this was a low down thing to do. So this is what Connie Chung did. She's going to get Newt Gingrich's mother in an interview. And I don't remember if his mother was by herself. I don't know who was with her, but dealing with the media and their tricks, I don't think a person like that should be by themselves with the media. You need to be trained in order to deal with the media. So I don't think this woman was media savvy. obviously, okay? So what Connie Chung does is she's going to ask, she wants to stir up the pot, right? And start some mess and ask Newt Gingrich's mother what her opinion was of Hillary Clinton. So you could already see she's starting mess. So Newt Gingrich's mom, she asked, like, I think she asked, like, is this like, am I being recorded right now? So Connie Chung was like, just whisper it to me or something, like leaning in, like they're girlfriends over coffee, spilling the tea rather. So she's going to get the woman to relax and have a hot take. And what she said to Connie was like, no, I don't like Hillary Clinton. I think she's a bitch. And that was the hot take that Connie Chung thought she was going to have a got you moment. And what it did was it backfired on her, because I don't care. You can get nasty and low down and dirty and political, but when you involve somebody's mother or their children or anybody like that, especially a mother who already has issues from what I can remember, and then to ask her a question where she trusts you, and then you're going to use this for some political, career, whatever thing, and it backfired, as it should have. And I don't care about whoever's politics, and if you like Newt Gingrich, look, this actually could have, and I don't know, but he's crying. If you could look at the picture of him crying as a result, I think that hit a mother wound in him. A mother wound. He grew up with a mother who had challenges. And then to have this happen and it splashed across the global media, and his mother is being made like these like Saturday Night Live skits. Look, Saturday Night Live did a whole skit. They're having fun. And I'm just saying, like, there's a limit, and we should have lines of decency where some things are just off. That's just off. We don't do it. That's gone too far. And I think that's what Connie Chung did. She went too freaking far. So she lost. She played herself. Girl boss. So that's one loss, another loss for feminism. That's how it goes, girls. Playing dirty in a man's world. That's right. Next slide. Boy, oh boy. We really were rooting for you, Connie. So look at this. These are some pictures. Look at Connie. She's a cutie. Look at her when she was younger. You can see she was ambitious, baby. She was making a name for herself. She was on her way. So Connie is married to Maury Povich, so we can see why maybe they have a lot in common with being messy, but they seem to have a marriage that works, right? That's good for them. They look great together. Look good looking family. They adopted a baby, and yes, Maury, you are the father. So yeah, she wrote her memoir, and she is a cultural influencer in the Asian American, women's space. So you could see she was the blueprint for a lot of the Asian news people that we see today. They look to her and, they were impressed with her, career. She had a great career. She ended it with, unfortunately, a very bad decision that cost her. She had a consequence for that. And that's terrible, because otherwise, I think she probably had a good career. She was, very well respected. So now her legacy is, one thing I do like, it does seem like she fell back and she's not constantly in your face or whatever. she gave the public a chance to maybe forget about some of this stuff. But because we're doing a retrospective, Connie, I had to bring it up, sis. Okay, so next slide. Had to bring it up, sis. You did. I can't stand by you when you're wrong. Okay, so here we are in 1995. We have Jane Austen being, I guess, reimagined in a couple of ways. So we have Emma, the movie Emma, where Gwyneth Paltrow starred in. That was a big success. I didn't get to see it, but yeah, people loved her in that. So you have Jane Austen. And for us to be Americans, we really love a lot of our British entertainment. Like I was talking about Absolutely Fabulous, so the Britcoms. I love a lot of British TV. I just do. So once you get used to their accent, you start understanding it. Because at first, when I was watching Absolutely Fabulous, I didn't know what they were talking about. But just listening to it, I started understanding. How about you? Sweetie, darling, sweetie. They were so funny. But okay, back to this. So Jane Austen was reimagined, and I didn't know this, but the movie Clueless was a sense like an adaptation of Jane Austen. So we remember the actors or like actresses. They want to be called actors, but you know what I'm saying. Alicia, and we got to see what's her name? Stacey Dash, and also the late actress that passed away, who played also in this movie. Very sad. She was a really cute actress, but they were great ensemble. Really cute movie, but yeah, I don't know. It says a lot about the generation, right? Did you like Paint Dance Live? You like that? Yeah, so there you are. Next slide. So 1995, we have Clueless, and that took on a life of its own. Clueless. Amazing success. So we have also JFK Jr. launched his political magazine, George. And we also have some of the gals. What are they up to? We have Posey Parker. I like Posey Parker in a lot of movies. She's one of my faves. I like the little independent movies, the little, what do they call them? Cafe, whatever, coffee house movies. I don't know what they call them, but I like a lot of those kind of movies. And she's in a lot of the, what do they call them? It's what is his name? Eugene Levy with the thick eyebrows. She does a lot of fun movies with that group. Maureen, Eugene, Maureen. The people that did Best in Show. I like those quirky movies. Best in Show. And then they had was it Netflix that carried or Hulu? It was called Up Schitt's Creek. Did anybody watch Up Schitt's Creek? I think it was called Up Schitt's Creek. And it was Eugene Levy. He's hilarious to me. But Posey Parker was in a movie with that ensemble called Best in Show. And it was so funny. But I watched Party Girl, which Party Girl was the first. Now listen to this, okay? So Posey Parker, she holds a place in internet history. So her movie Party Girl was the first movie that basically streamed to the internet, that was uploaded to the internet, okay? Interesting. It was a cute little movie. I remember watching it. Okay, so we had Princess Diana, who admitted to having an affair on Prince Charles. I didn't realize that, you all. Did you know that she admitted to having an affair? I didn't know that. Wow. There's a lot of crazy stuff. I wasn't paying attention to all of it, I guess. So that happened. And then we had our sis from the Great North, Canada Stan, right? Where our good brother 420 Wild Dragon comes from the upper north Canada Stan. We have Alanis Morissette, and she came out with her premiere album called Little Jagged Pill, I think. Yeah. And she gave us that. What would you call the genre of her music? It's kind of grunge, it's straight to the point. Wow. It's kind of like expose, and she exposed a man that did her wrong. And a lot of people think, I mean, this was the rumors going around, is that it was one of the father guys from Full House. Broke her heart, treated her like a dog, and it probably was some kind of age difference that wasn't cool. So, yeah. So I guess she's been away healing herself, but she had a good run starting out. And maybe she got caught up with the Hollywood stuff, and the men like this guy came across this man who she wasn't ready for the games. So, yeah. But definitely is a cultural figure from the 90s. Alanis. So who do we have next? Next slide. Who? Somebody else knows Schitt's Creek. So you know, oh, we could have a fun time having some watch parties, right? Up Schitt's Creek. Oh my God, what a funny, funny show. Okay, so we have George debuting, and it was very successful. This is what JFK Jr. had resigned. Remember the episode last? He resigned his job as an attorney, and he then launched this political magazine, George. And it was very, very, I wish I collected it back. If I had known, I would have tried to collect it. Something told me to buy it because I used to love magazines, and I didn't do it. I could kick myself. But anyway, George Magazine, and the first edition had Cindy Crawford, top supermodel Cindy Crawford on the cover as George Washington, right? So it was just really creative and imaginative. I like what he was doing. Just something new, merging pop culture with politics. I think it was something different. And then we had George W. So W actually became the governor of Texas in 1995. So we can see how the whole Bush empire is beginning to spawn some new Bushes, right? Oh boy. Next slide. Ocean. So let's see what's going on with the bros. So we have Barack Obama publishing his book, Dreams from My Father. So we can see how he's being positioned for his ascent, right? Very interesting, right? That's when the book was published. Dreams from My Father. So we question a lot about this man's origins and just amazing stuff as you look at his operation. Very, very treasonous. Okay, so we have Coolio. In 1995, he had Gangster's Paradise. You remember? It became like a big hit. And then we had Bobby Brown got into a knife fight in Roxbury, up in his hometown, Boston, and his friend died in this knife fight. So it was very unfortunate. Then we have the Million Man March, and you can see the Reverend Al Sharpton. So you could already see what's going on. I don't need to say any more. A Million Man March, a million black men coming to Washington, D.C. to make a change in, I guess, the culture, in the community. And I guess if you look back and see what the Million Man March, the results and how they would say how things panned out, their goals, have they reached their goals? I don't know. I didn't go, but I do know some people that went. I wonder what they would say. All right, next slide. So there you go. Look at that. Gangsters Paradise, right? So we have over in Mason, check this out. The town is called Mason City, Iowa. A TV news personality named Jody Hussenstruth, she just disappears. I remember hearing about this. She disappears. And I don't think they've ever recovered a body to this day. So that was really unfortunate. And I'm sure it's a whole lot to that story. Somebody has probably already decoded and figured a lot out with it. But that was very unfortunate. Then we have the woman who wanted to invade a man's space, right? Shannon Faulkner, if you remember, she was the woman who fought her way to be admitted to the Citadel. And she quit after 5 days. She couldn't handle the training at the Citadel. So what does she accomplish? I don't know. But those are the things that really annoy me with this girl boss stuff. So 5 days, that's all she could handle. And then we had Xena Warrior Princess debut. And this is a lot of the craziness that has invaded the minds of women. Xena, and she's beating up everybody. She's strong. It's annoying. I can't stand it. And they've taken this thing progressively to the most absurd levels. We've seen it where every superhero now is a woman. She kicks butt. She's this. She's everything. And none of it is working. Nobody wants to see a movie where the woman is the lead and she is the top warrior. She's the superhero and all of the men are under her. It's just not, it's an archetype that's not ever going to work. You could want it, but it's just going to be a little niche. The regular, population, they're not going to want to see it. And so we've been doing that. We've been showing Hollywood, we don't want this. It's crap. Garbage. Next slide. Garbage. And now look at how primitive the graphics were. So eBay debuted in 1995. Boy, can you believe it? So look at how the original eBay, just so busy and yucky looking. The graphics look just it's gotten so much better, right? So CNN was one of the first, I guess, shows or whatever to make them an online. So CNN.com debuted. And then also in 1995, they decided to declare that Bill Gates was the richest man in the world. So, he's young and he's worth so much money and he's rising up in power. So let's look at the next slide. Now, this was interesting. We're going to end on this, talking about art, high art, how you look at art. This was an art installation over in Germany. And this is the German Parliament building. and it was wrapped in a polypropylene fabric as an art installation. So look at how it looks really interesting. So this material again is polypropylene. Polypropylene. I should have known that. Polypropylene fabric. And it's completely wrapped with this fabric. For what? I don't know, but I just thought it would be interesting to look at. Just wrap a building. I guess maybe for termites. No. Termite fumigation. So what else happened in 1995? We had someone received a bionic eye. Frank Sinatra's last performance at the Palm Desert, which sounds perfect, right? At the Palm Desert, a bygone era, the Brat Pack, gone with the wind like a vapor. All of these people who were once on the world stage, they were the generation who was up, and they lived their lives fast, and the Brat Pack. So he closed it out for that generation. Last performance at the Palm Desert, and they probably have since torn down the Palm Desert. If the walls could talk, right? So what else do we have? Tobacco, big tobacco. It was determined that they could be sued for manipulating the nicotine levels and making it hard for people to quit smoking because of the addictive nature. So it opened up that they could be sued. And Amtrak ended their New York to Tampa line. And it lets you know how trains used to be very important in our country. You could take a train from New York City to Tampa, Florida. And now they get rid of all these routes. And before you know it, no routes. So we can see how they're starting to dry that up. Gloria Estefan was hit by a jet skier, her boat, and the jet skier died. So Gloria Estefan had some bad juju on her because she had just been in an accident, a bus accident. And then this jet skier crashing into her boat. But, I'm just saying, it's interesting. She's gone through so much stuff. She has some her and her husband have been mentioned with the Diddy stuff, by the way. Diddy had a mansion in Miami, and the Estefans were his neighbors. So some of the rumors that have come out, they were partying with Diddy and stuff. So just to let you know, one big club. I'm just saying, I used to really love Gloria Estefan. But I'm telling you, these people are a bunch of weirdos, allegedly. Allegedly. So the man who founded the Cali cartel was arrested because his bodyguard betrayed him. Look at that. And it was the 50th anniversary of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima, and the Japanese prime minister apologized for what Japan did during the World War. Toy Story was a big movie. Michael Jackson collapsed while he was rehearsing, and an AIDS activist, Jeff Getty, became a bone marrow transplant from a baboon. He got bone marrow from a baboon. Is that amazing? Crazy. Unreal. What else? The Dalai Lama proclaimed that a 6-year-old was the 11th reincarnation of the Panchen Lama. And we have seen since the Dalai Lama, his whole image has been corrupted as well. I did an upload on Dalai Lama recently. Creepy. Yeah, to say the least. Very creepy. Then we had the Schengen Agreement. This is to make Europe a border-free zone. And we can see how that has a lot of countries are going to start coming out of this European Union and start having their own identity again. Varivax was approved for chickenpox vaccine, so Merck did that. And that's it. Mike Tyson got out of jail. He was in jail. Also, they had something called a Bose-Einstein. The Bose-Einstein condensate. This is referred to as a unique state of matter predicted by Satyendra Bose and Albert Einstein, formed when bosons, these are like atoms, are cooled to near absolute zero, causing their quantum waves to overlap and behave as a single unified superatom. So that's it. That was, I guess, what did they tell us about that? It was it a written thing that happened? But it happened in 1995. That they are telling us that this was maybe published. That's it for 1995. We're going to wrap it up like they wrapped up the parliament in Germany, okay? Thanks for joining me. I'll see you soon. And I love you all. We're going to do what? 1996, episode 32 next. Take care.